It's Emma
This
here
call is now
from
being
Everway.
recorded. This call is now taking notes.
There we go.
There we go. I'll just introduce Emma here from Everway. She is our new link person. I say new, but we've known you for a good few months now, Emma, haven't we? Within Everway, which is the new name for text help. And today we're going to be looking at using Read and Write on iPad, which is really great. So I will stop blethering on now and leave it to you, Emma.
Fab, thank you so much. I'm just going to load the call briefly. One thing before I start, whenever I'm doing calls on my iPad, if I'm sharing my screen, my camera does go off. So apologies that you can't see me at the moment. Once we get to the end of the session and there's time for questions and things, I'll stop sharing my screen and then you will be able to see me. But Read and Write is at the centre of it. You don't need to see me. We need to see the tool. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day, particularly when it's so sunny, to join this afternoon session here. We're going to cover today how we can support literacy in the classroom with Read and Write for iPad. So we're going to cover all of the inclusive tools within this package that's going to help you support every single learner. You will get a copy of these slides, but here are my contact details. As Julia was saying, I am the main point of contact for the council. So if you do have any questions when it comes to Read and Write at all, please feel free to reach out on the email address that's on your screen just now. But again, you don't need to take a note because you'll get a copy of the slides. So the agenda for the session today is a bit of an introduction to Read and Write for iPad. I'm going to go through a demonstration of the key features and how they can support all aspects of literacy. And as we go, we'll be exploring the customizable settings to show you how we can really tailor Read and Write to meet the individual needs of your learners. If you do have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat as they come up, and I'll make sure there's time at the end for questions. So here at Everway, our mission is to help everyone understand and be understood. Read and Write has been created to help level the playing field in the classroom, remove barriers to learning, and ensure that every child can fully access the curriculum and reach their full potential. So Read and Write for iPad is a complete literacy support tool that's going to offer your learners help with everyday tasks like reading text aloud, exploring new and tricky vocabulary, and supporting the writing process. It's made up of a specialist support keyboard that works across every app on the device, and it also has a dedicated writing space. The two can be used separately and they can be used together, and when they're used together, they're incredibly powerful. These literacy tools help to support schools to deliver inclusion in the classroom and meet that diversity of need. So we know every student is going to learn in a different way and can face different challenges in the classroom. And once children know how to use Read and Write, they can adapt in the moment and interact with the scaffolds they need to help with whatever barrier it is that they are facing. As well as iPad, it is available on iOS mobile, so we are trying to raise awareness that Read and Write can be used at home for free. Children would just need to use their Aberdeenshire login details and it will register that they are part of the Aberdeenshire Council licence. And importantly, we are looking at iPad today. However, Read and Write is available across all platforms. We do work across Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, we have a Windows desktop toolbar as well. So with Read and Write, you're getting every core feature within the package everywhere on the device. As I mentioned earlier, you can use Read and Write in any app with our specialist keyboard or use the dedicated writing app for new or current documents, but you can use the keyboard anywhere where reading has to take place or there is writing input. And over here on the right hand side is a bit of an overview of all the different tools we have available within Read and Write for iPad. We can import images and scan files to extract text from them so that then it can be read and interacted with. We can change the font, the layout and the style, and how the text presents itself to your learners. We have text to speech with dual colour highlighting, which can be customised. We have a choice of voices. We have an audio dictionary and a picture dictionary to provide vocabulary support. We have inbuilt one-word translation We have prediction to support building sentences in the writing process. We have dictation so that students can use speech to text, and we have our inbuilt spelling check support too. And we'll cover all of those in our demo today. Now, don't worry about taking any notes here because again, you'll get a copy of this. I'm going to go through the initial steps you need to do to enable the Read and Write keyboard. So coming out of my slides, we are going to access our settings area on the iPad device. The first area we want to go into is General. Now you may need to scroll down for the next bit on the devices. We want to go down to Keyboard and up to Keyboards. Now, at this point, I already have Read and Write keyboard as an option. The first time your students or teachers do this, Read and Write will not be in this list. They will need to go to Add New Keyboard. Again, this is all detailed on the slide, so don't worry about noting anything down. Read and Write will appear in this gap here. It doesn't appear for me because I've already got it enabled, but they would tap on Read and Write here, go into that new Read and Write keyboard, and this is a really important part. We have to toggle on to allow full access. So that's telling the iPad device that we want to allow the Read and Write keyboard to step in when we are wanting to read any text, explore vocabulary, or do any writing input. So coming out of here, just to show us an example now, if I was creating a new note, now, I've already got my Read and Write keyboard enabled. Long pressing on the globe icon on your keyboard. If I went up to the English keyboard, this is what you'll see as standard. So before you have fully enabled the Read and Write keyboard at this point, they're just still going to get the standard keyboard, but you've toggled on allow full access. So if I now long press, Read and Write should appear in that list. If it doesn't, double check those settings steps I just showed you to make sure it's definitely toggled on to allow full access. Once you have, we should be able to tap on Read and Write keyboard and it will come up here for you. So it's just to show how to actually get the keyboard up and running. But what I'm going to do now is pop into our Read and Write app. This is our dedicated writing space. And you will come to a dashboard. Now, the first time you do this, you will likely get a screen that comes up saying Setup Wizard. You can press Skip, which is usually down the bottom right-hand corner, and you should be able to click X in the top right-hand corner to bypass any need for a login. It's been deployed out centrally, so you shouldn't need to go through a manual sign-in process. So to repeat that, we can skip the Setup Wizard, the bottom right hand corner, and then press the X in the top right. If for any reason that doesn't work, you should still be able to use your Aberdeenshire details to log into the app, but let me know if there are any problems accessing it. And once you've went through those steps, you'll get to your Read and Write dashboard. This will show any documents you've previously made. You can use the search function if you've got a lot of documents you've made, and we've got some creation options down the bottom. Okay, we can create a brand new document from scratch. That'll be a complete blank canvas, but I'd like to show you what we can do with our import function. From here, we can import text from different sources. So we can pull in a photo from our photo library. So I'm going to show you that first. In my photo library, I've actually got a screenshot that I've saved here about some information about ancient Egyptians. So if I was to select that, it's going to pull that photo in that's previously inaccessible. I'm just going to give it a really quick name. And I tap on save. That's going to pull that photo in. Again, it was an inaccessible photo, but now we have a document full of text that we can now start to take away, add to, read, understand, explore using our Read and Write tools. So that's one way we can bring in some text. I'm going to go back out to the dashboard because I want to go back to import. We can pull in files. Local files means files from your iPad device storage, but we can also import from connected cloud storage. So I've got a Google Drive, I've got a OneDrive, I can pull in a file from here, but I'm going to go to local files and pull in a PDF that I've got saved on my device. I've got a PDF here which has some information but right now it's a PDF file that I can't do very much with. I can't make it accessible, and if I was a child with a significant reading barrier, I need to be able to interact with this text and use the inclusive tools within Read&Write to help me explore it. So I'm going to tap on here and I'm going to bring it in with Read&Write. Okay, now when I bring it in that way, what you'll see is I get swipeable pages. It says page 1 of 2, and I can swipe back and forward to move between those pages of information. Now, it has come up before. Some kids have asked during pupil workshops, can we have it that it's not on swipeable pages and that all the text is just in one big long document, which you can completely understand. So I'm going to show you that final way of bringing in this text. I'm going to go out and I'm going to create a brand new document. This time, to pull in that same file, I'm going to go up to the camera button. There's different options here. I can scan from camera. Now, where there would be a use case for that in a classroom might be if you have a printed worksheet or a page within a textbook or something that you want kids to be able to read, but they might struggle to do so independently. So you can scan that page or worksheet with your camera and it will pull in the text into Read&Write, and they can then explore it with the tools. We can scan from a photo like we just did with the ancient Egyptian information, and we can scan from file, which I'm about to do. You can insert photos from your camera or library. That's just literally inserting a photo. So maybe a child wants to insert a picture of work they've previously done and then write about it here, they can do. But we're going to scan from file, and I'm going to pull in that same PDF that's on my iPad, but you'll see this time, because I brought it in using the camera scan feature, I'm going to tap on that. This time it has brought in the text, but it's all going to be on one long page. So it's spaced it out a wee bit, and all of the text is within one file without having to swipe through pages. Some children might be fine with the swipeable pages, others might want to bring it in using the camera button in here and click and scan from file. That will mean it comes all in as a winner. So it's just thinking about what's best for your learners. Okay, so we've brought in the text, okay, and I've showed you different ways to do that. And we know that if we tap in, we have our Read&Write keyboard available. So we've got some tools within the keyboard and some tools within the app that we can use to explore this text. Now, if you enable your Read&Write keyboard, you'll be able to tell it's the Read&Write keyboard because you'll have your purple prediction bar that we're going to come to later, and you'll see Read&Write on the spacebar here. As standard though, you are not going to have the keys looking like mine. I have enabled Open Dyslexic Font to make the keyboard as accessible as possible, and I have turned on the option to have the vowels highlighted. So I'm going to show you how to do that before we explore this text. If we go up to the 3 dots in the Read&Write app and into Settings, I am going to go to Keyboard Settings. And here we can toggle on to have Open Dyslexic Font and have the vowels highlighted. Again, maybe not every child would want that, although we have found that in most pupil workshops we've done, the kids do tend to like to turn those options on. So it's good to know that it's there if you do have any dyslexic learners or kids who might struggle to navigate that keyboard and we want to make their life easier. I can click Done, and then your keyboard will look like mine, as accessible as possible. So the first thing children will likely want to do is to begin reading this text. Now straight away, some children, perhaps they maybe do have dyslexia, or they would experience a bit of visual stress with the bright white background and the black text. They may want to change that page colour or the font colour to make it easier to read, a bit like applying a coloured overlay. What we can do within our text, now I'm going to highlight some of the text. Okay. And I'm going to open the AA button here. This is going to be our font and style control. And from here, we've got quite a lot of options available. The first thing we can do is to change the font. Now, there's loads of fonts within this list, but we do have Open Dyslexic Font as an option. We can increase or decrease the font size, so we can tap on the number and scroll, or you can press the smaller A to reduce and the larger A to increase the size. We can change the spacing, but I'll draw your attention to this background colour. Okay, so I maybe want to go for maybe something like this, or I could go for the yellow or the green. I'll go for the yellow just now. Now, we often get asked why are there so many darker shades, and it's because we know that some learners prefer to read in that sort of inverted mode. You know, you've got the dark background, and we would be able to change the text colour up at this A to something like white, and they could read in a different font colour against a darker background. So that's why there's some darker options there, but I'm going to go for the yellow coloured overlay. I'm going to leave my text as black just now. So there's quite a range of style changes you can make there. And now just tap off my text and my page has been customised. And now I'd like to read the text. So I'm going to tap wherever I want it to start reading. So you can see my cursor is at the beginning of this sentence. And I have two options for text to speech. I can press play on my keyboard. And again, that play option is going to be available anywhere on the iPad device. Or I can use the play built within the app because that's the app I'm in just now. So I'll show you each of those. I'm going to tap play on the keyboard first.
Rivers usually begin in upland areas when rain falls on high ground and begins to flow downhill. They always flow downhill.
Press and stop when I am done. Okay, hopefully you could hear my audio through the Google Meet. Apologies if you can't. Sometimes it's just because my mic is being used for the call. But let's now see what happens with our app play button.
Rivers usually begin in upland areas when rain falls on high ground and begins to flow downhill.
Okay, so you've noticed a little bit of a difference here. It's the same voice and the same speed, but when we play on the Read and Write keyboard, you'll get the dialog box down here and each word will be highlighted in green as it's read. But up here in the app text to speech, we have a customizable colour of dual colour highlighting. Now the dual colour highlighting has been designed to the dual colour highlighting has been designed to support with word tracking, helping children to follow along with what is being read. So we can change the colour of the highlight and we can change the font colour as it appears within the highlight. So we'll look at how to do that just now and change the voice that it was read aloud in. So any of these changes, we're going to go up to our three dots and into settings. First, we'll change the voice. So we're going to go into language and voice. And I've got English selected as my language. So here are the English voices available to us just now. Oops, sorry. So we've got Jamie Premium Voice. That is quite a good voice. It's quite realistic. We've got all of these, but we've just had a new update. We have two AI enhanced voices that have the wee cluster of stars next to them. I was reading there with Alicia's voice. I'm going to switch to Eldrin so you get a wee chance to see that too. These will be our most realistic voices, the ones with the stars, AI enhanced. It's going to sound like a real person reading the text, which is great. Popping back out to settings. The toggle button is going to influence the speed. So the higher up we go to the right, the faster it will be. The further to the left we go, the slower it will be. Now, I had it roughly here and I think I was quite happy with that speed. The last little change we will make is the dual colour highlighting as it's reading the text aloud. So popping into speech settings this time, we can change the text colour and the background colour. Now my text colour at the moment was black and the background colour of the highlight was orange. So I'm going to change it maybe to purple highlight. Again, anything with the tick next to it, that's going to show you what colour you've chosen. And I'll make my text colour, maybe make my text colour white against the purple. That will probably be quite a good combination. Back out of there. So recapping what I've just changed there, I went into language and voice, chose my voice, I've amended the speed, and I popped into speech settings to change the text colour of my highlight and my background colour of my highlight. When I'm happy with all those, I can tap done. So now our changes that we should have is we've switched to another AI enhanced voice, this will be a male voice this time. The words that are being read aloud should be highlighted in purple with white text within it. So let's give that a try using the app's text-to-speech.
Rivers usually begin in upland areas when rain falls on high ground and begins to flow downhill. They always flow downhill because of gravity.
Okay, I personally prefer the other AI enhanced voice, but these will be our most realistic ones, which is great. Jamie Premium Voice within the UK Voices is also a great choice too. So we've had a look at text-to-speech both on the keyboard and within the app. And the app one is slightly more customizable that we had a look at in settings. Now from there, just because a child has heard the text aloud doesn't mean they necessarily understand it. So we can use our inbuilt dictionaries to support with exploring new or tricky vocabulary. So I'm going to tap on maybe a word like meander. Now the three dots on the keyboard, when we tap on those, it's going to expand and give us some extra tools. Okay, we have a settings cog, which we'll come to later. We have our dictionary icon, our spell check, which is called check it, and we have our translator. For now, my cursor is at the word meander. I could also double click to highlight that word, but my cursor knows it's at meander. I'm going to tap on the open book icon for the dictionary and we'll see what happens. So what we're given is the word and any meanings associated with it. If there's a picture available from our picture dictionary, it will give us that too. Now pressing play is going to turn this into an audio dictionary.
Meander. Noun, an aimless amble on a winding course. Noun, a bend or curve as in a stream or river.
Okay, now that meaning there,
Verb, to move.
A bend or curve as in a stream or river, that is reflected in this picture. So the combination of being able to hear the word, hear the meaning and see an associated picture is going to increase the chance that a child is understanding what that word means without needing as much adult support. And what I really like is that the minute they see another word they're not sure of, maybe tapping on something like a road. Oh, sorry, my cursor is frozen. Maybe tapping on a road, it's going to automatically update. Again, they're going to get the meaning that they can listen to and they're going to see that picture representation. So we're just increasing independence as we explore new vocabulary. And from there, still on the theme of reading and from exploring vocabulary that might be unfamiliar, if we do have children where English is an additional language, we can use our inbuilt translator to translate individual words that come up within the text. We do have to set up our translation language first, and we can do that within this settings cog on the keyboard. So if I tap on settings, we have options here. The play is going to be our reading settings, which you can see here, it confirms it. The pencil is our writing settings, but we're reading for the moment, so we'll stay within reading settings. And I can scroll all the way down to, oh, sorry about that, translation language, and we can choose, tap here to choose from the list. So there's quite a wide range here that we can choose from. I have picked Romanian at this moment in time. So once I'm confident I've got the translation language that I'm looking for, I am ready to use translator. So again, I'm on the word road just now, so I can tap on translator. Okay, and it's going to give us the English we can listen to.
Erode.
And we can play the Romanian.
Eroda.
Okay, and then if I tap on another word.
Roci. Dealuri. Și. Meandră.
Okay, so I'm hearing the pronunciation. I can listen to the English and the home language version as many times as I need to. So a wee option, if you do have children that are maybe going to come across words in English that are not quite sure of and they want to hear it in their home language. Okay, if I'm ready to collapse this toolbar at any point and get my full keyboard back, I can tap on those three dots at any time and it will reduce that down. Okay, the last reading tool that I'm going to show just now is our audio maker. It's what we can do is we can turn pieces of text like this into an audio file. So if children were needing to revise information or needing to explore it in a more accessible way, maybe you want to create a sound file that they can listen to when their work is done, or that you can assign for homework, maybe a page from a story and you want them to listen to it at home, you can turn text in Read&Write into an audio file. So if I wanted to turn this text into an audio file, I'm going to go up to this sort of export button, which probably also counts as our save button, because we can save to an audio file, which we're going to do in a second. But just to draw your attention to the other options, you can save to Dropbox, Google Drive, OneDrive, and you can export it as these different file types and then move it to whatever storage location you would like. The first time you tap in these cloud options, it's probably going to get you to connect your account and things, so that's something that's worth trying if you're needing to save something in a moment. But for now, we're going to save it as an audio file. So let's call this Rivers. Click on save, and it's going to save this audio file for me. It says, would you like to view it? Now you don't have to, but it's good to view it just to make sure it's going to the right place. If I want to preview it and make sure I'm happy with it, I can tap play down the bottom.
How are rivers formed? Rivers usually begin in upland areas.
So you can see how maybe taking a page from a story that you're wanting to discuss in class or you're wanting them to catch up on, turning it into that audio file is a really inclusive way to allow children to process and learn from the same information as their peers who maybe don't struggle with reading in the same way. From here, our save button, or our share button if you like, is going to give us options about where we can put this. So we can airdrop it to students, we can put it into Teams if that's how you do it, we can put it into Google Drive and share it, put it into Google Classroom, or indeed we can save it to the device files. So maybe if a pupil wanted to create an audio file, they can even create an audio file of a piece of work that they've done and share it with you. They can save it to their files too. I'm happy for it to go on my iPad, but again, you'll probably get some other storage options. I'm happy for it to save here, and it's going to save that file for me. Okay. So I'm going to click close now, and I'm going to click this back button to get back to my home page. And what you'll see here is I've got the document we were in that I can revisit if I need to, and I've got that audio file here and ready to go. Okay. So moving back to my slides, I'm just going to recap what we have covered so far within Read&Write. We have looked at changing the font layout and style using the AA button. And again, you'll get these slides. So I'm hoping that these slides will be helpful reminders as to how we can change things. We have looked at text to speech and how we can go into the 3 dots to customize this dual color highlighting. Okay, which is what is also covered here. We've looked at vocabulary acquisition through our audio dictionary and support from the picture dictionary. And we've had a look at how we can tap on a word, open the 3 dots on the Read&Write keyboard, tap on translator, and listen to the translation. So now in the second part of our demo, we're going to turn our attention to some of the tools that are going to support writing quality and improve the writing stamina of your learners. So lots of tools that are ideal for helping students transfer their thoughts. If you've got kids that maybe struggle with working memory, you know, they've got lots of ideas in their head, but when it comes to getting it down onto the paper, they maybe lose track of what they're trying to say, or they get a bit anxious about spelling, and they become quite disengaged and have a lot of barriers up. We can use a few tools to help with that, and we're going to start with prediction and check it. So I'm going to pop back into Read&Write. Now again, if you've got somewhere else that you get the kids to type on the iPad, like notes, keynote, anything at all, they will still get the supports from this Read&Write keyboard that we're going to cover. But I just want to show you it within the app as well, because this is our dedicated writing space. So you're not tied to using the Read&Write app. The keyboard will follow them everywhere they go on the device, wherever writing input is needed. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to type a sentence here. I just gave myself a brand new blank canvas, by the way, by just tapping new document. So that's what this is. Now, I am going to type a sentence and it's going to have a couple of mistakes. And the first tool that we are going to look at is Check It, which is our inbuilt spell checker on the keyboard that's going to help with any words that we've not quite spelled correctly. So if you bear with me while I start typing. Okay, so I've typed, how are rivers formed? Okay, now we are getting some support from our prediction bar, but we're not going to look at that quite yet. We're going to expand our hidden tools like we did before with the 3 dots on the keyboard. And we're going to go across to this check mark, which is for Check It, our inbuilt spell checker. Okay, this is going to push the sentence, or indeed if there's multiple sentences, it will push one sentence at a time into this dialog box. If there are any errors, it will appear in red with a purple underline. And over at the right hand side, we have a list of suggestions. Now, to kids, this could just be a list of words that they are not sure of and might not be able to read independently, and we want to avoid them having to come over and ask for help. So we can long press
Rivers.
And I'm confident it was rivers. Tap to make that change, and it'll turn green when they have corrected the mistake. Now we want formed, so let's long press again.
Form. Formed.
Formed is what I wanted. Tap to make the change. Now it will scan the rest of my document, and if it's happy that all mistakes are fixed, it will come up and say spell check complete. Okay, so the children could do it after they've done each sentence, or they can complete their piece of writing and go through and edit it all at the end. It's very personal to the child or the way you as a teacher want them to approach it. I can click OK, and that has me completed my spell check. So to recap that, I typed my sentence, expanded the extra tools using the 3 dots on the keyboard, and I tapped on the check it icon, which is this one here. Okay, but now we're going to have a look at how our prediction bar, which is a purple bar at the top of the keyboard, can support with the writing process too. Now, what you'll have noticed is that prediction is going to come up with suggestions as the child is typing, and if there's a picture available in the picture dictionary, it will appear on the keyboard. Now, it's important to note that the pictures don't appear automatically. By default, they are deactivated, so we need to set them up if the child would benefit from it. So we can tap on the 3 dots into the settings cog, and you'll remember I said we have reading settings, which is the play button, but we also have a pencil for writing settings. So we want to be in writing settings, and where for word prediction it says show images, we want to toggle that on, bearing in mind the number of suggestions will limit to 3 with images. That's just to do with processing and the speed that prediction needs to be able to keep up with your child's typing. So you'll get 3 suggestions and you will get the images. So I want to show that in action. I'm going to collapse this extra toolbar. Now, there's nothing here just now because I've not started typing. So as long as your children are attempting to type something, it will be trying to predict what it is they're trying to say. It's a bit like a 2-in-1. It's helping them to build their sentence, but it's also constantly modelling that correct spelling when it shows the correct option. So it's a bit of a 2-in-1. You get prediction support and you get spelling support here. So I'm going to try and do some kind of phonetical errors that a child might do when they're trying to type some of these words. So I want to talk about small rivers. So I'm going to say small, which is how a child might type small. Looking on our toolbar, again, we're thinking about a child who maybe would instantly call you over and say, what do these words say? Which one's right? What one do I pick? The first support that's there is the fact that we've enabled the images. So we can see we've got a big box compared to the small box that's highlighted. But if they weren't sure, just like with Check It, we can long press the options.
Small.
Okay, and you can hear it saying small. Okay, now if I'm happy small's the one, all I need to do is just a wee tap and it will input it for me. Now I'm going to say rivers. Okay, now straight away as a child I could actually be quite confident I know a couple of the letters, I might be struggling to read the word, but I can see the picture, but we can long press to be sure.
Rivers,
Small rivers, and then we'll go for usually. So that might be a mistake they make. Let's go for usually.
usually,
Okay, now they've got the same picture, so that's where it's really important that they know that they can long press to listen to those options and compare them. So we can tap on usually, and let's go for known. Oh, sorry, I typed away ahead there.
known,
Oh,
known,
sorry, I don't know what happened there with the voice there, a wee glitch. Known, and we could do as streams. And again, we're getting streams. They might not even need to listen to that. They can see it's streams. We can tap to insert. Okay, so that is how prediction is going to both model the spelling, but give your children the tools to more independently pick the word that's going to help them build their sentence and correct their writing as they go. Okay. Now, the third and kind of final writing tool that I'm going to draw your attention to, I usually, the reason I'm not going to actually demo this one is because whenever I do, it gets confused with the fact I'm using the mic for the call, and it usually kicks me out of the call. So I'm not going to run the risk of getting booted out of the meeting. But tapping on the microphone is our speech to text option. So it's our voice dictation. So they can tap on that microphone. It'll bring them to a page where they can say their ideas, and then when they tap back into the document, it's going to input their ideas. Okay, they can give punctuation commands, so they can say their sentence and say full stop, whatever it happens to be, and it will insert it for them. Okay, because we understand for some kids, using prediction, using check it, it might not be enough support. If they've got really significant barriers when it comes to writing, using this mic might be the most appropriate first step to get them re-engaged with writing. Okie dokie. Coming back out, I'm just popping into my slides. So just recapping, we then looked at writing quality and stamina. So we looked at prediction. Again, this is our prediction bar showing some images. We can long press to listen to options. Same with check it. Opening the three dots on the keyboard and tapping on check it will put any mistakes in the dialog box. They can long press to listen to check it options and tap when they're on the right one. This is what dictation will look like. So when they tap on the microphone, they'll be brought to this page. So in this example, I had said the dragon stomped towards him, creating fresh cracks in the old stony cave. And it dictated it for me. You tap to stop when you're done. And when you're back in your document, it will insert it for you. Now, as I'd said earlier on, you're not tied to just using the Read and Write app. The Read and Write keyboard will work across the entire device, no matter what app you are in. You can be opening up a photo from your camera roll, adding text boxes and labeling ideas. Again, the adding text box part is obviously an iPad tool, but once you've added a text box, you're getting prediction and check it and dictation support from the Read and Write keyboard, and you can be listening to text if you're in notes, if you're opening a file, whatever it happens to be. We can even get support if we're doing web searches. If they're having to type in a web search, they're going to get that ongoing support from the keyboard. Now, I wanted to ensure there's time for questions, but first, I just want to draw your attention to these links within the slides that you can click on to access a range of follow-up resources. So we have a Read and Write for iPad quick reference guide and a user guide, because I know some people prefer that kind of paper guide that they can go through one bit at a time. We do have another recorded Read and Write for iPad webinar that was recorded back in October 2025. You'll get today's recording though. We have our Read and Write for iPad feature-focused pupil videos. So that is your key pupil resource. If you want to train your children on how to use this, there's a video for each tool within Read and Write for iPad. So you can put the videos up on your screen, have the kids sitting with the iPad in front of them, and they can follow along with the steps in the video. And that way you don't need to worry about delivering the training. The videos will do it for you. When it comes to parents and carers, again, we're always trying to raise awareness of the fact that this is available at no cost to families at home. So the support doesn't have to stop when the school day ends. We have our Using Read and Write at Home guide, which is really comprehensive. It's got download links for the software. It's got videos that show parents everything they need to do. And we also did produce a home use webinar for parents and carers that can be shared as well. So you'll get access to all of that, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that I appear again and we can make time for questions. I get that that is a lot of information. It's a lot to take in, particularly if Read and Write on iPad is new to you. So I get that might be a lot of information. You just need the chance to go away, process it, have a play about with it, which is the best way to get confident with it. But if you do have any questions, feel free to let me know and I'll be happy to answer.
Thanks so much, Emma. I'll stop the recording then, because sometimes I think people feel a bit more comfortable if they're not being recorded, and that might encourage questions.
Absolutely.
There we go. That's